Welcome back to episode 79 of the Guardian Project podcast. I'm your host, Andy. And Coyle, do you know who receives more gifts than anyone else each year?
No, who?
Saheeli the Gifted.
Oh, okay. That makes sense. Yeah.
I want to get all the gifts. Andy the Gifted.
Saheeli's got some special connection with Santa Claus.
Yes.
And I'm your other host, Mike. And this last week we got to play Commander with our friends Davey and Belmont, where we horsed around with some Sun Quan puns.
Good Lord.
It was so much fun, but frankly, I wish there were more.
Please listen carefully.
Oh, you're bringing those horse puns to the podcast even now.
Of course. Davey would not be happy right now.
He would not. So we had so many horse puns on the stream last week. I guess we're going to continue to beat this dead horse.
Yeah, we're going to take it around the track at least one more time.
All right, enough horse jokes. We're not going to horse around anymore.
No more.
This is a podcast where we talk about all things Magic the Gathering,
but mostly Commander.
So this past week, I have been working on editing decks. I am still adding Commander Legends cards to decks, and I've realized that I have ultimately too many decks. When you come to the realization that you don't play enough of them very often. I found one in a drawer that the last time I played it was before quarantine. It was like in March.
What was the deck?
Edric, Spymaster of Trest, and I played it yesterday just because I found it. Okay. I was just like, it's an extra turns deck. I really like the deck. I just haven't played it, but there are a lot of new cards that came out and I'm contemplating either updating that deck. But the problem is I don't play it too often because it's very consistent. Mm-hmm. You just draw a lot of cards and then you ultimately draw into your extra turns. And so because of that, I don't know why extra turns gets a bad rap. It's like I would rather play against extra turns than, I don't know, a sacrifice deck that has like Grave Pact, even though I've done that. Been there, done that.
Well, I mean, I guess for me, it would just be like, how long are you playing Magic where I'm not playing Magic?
Fair enough. Yeah, that's a really good point, because if you are doing it and you're taking like 7 turns, but each turn you're like, I swing for 10. Okay, I quickly take an extra turn, then it's fine. But if there's so much thought in between it, yeah, I can understand why that would be very frustrating. And that's some of the reasons I don't play some of the decks. Like I am leaving Rona, Disciple of Gix together for now, because when I tweeted about it online and said which of these decks should stay together, I got a lot of, you can take apart Kadena, that one's fine, but don't take apart Rona. But Rona, I find that I have like a lot of thinking and like long turns, and that's the only reason why I personally, I think, would take that deck apart, other than it's just the power level's a little high.
Sure. Yeah, you played in the right pod. It'll be fine.
Yeah.
I like the deck, but it's also like a deck type that I also like. I love the decks where it's like putting the pieces of a puzzle together and trying to figure out the right combination.
Right. What did you do Magic this past week?
I am slowly getting the final bits and pieces of some of my decks in. I was proxying a lot of cards for my Rogue Rock Jessica deck, and so I'm getting a lot of those cards in. I own my first copy of Fork that I've ever owned, which is pretty cool.
I don't own a Fork. Yeah. I own lots in my silverware drawer.
Right.
No Magic Forks.
No, just so I finally have a Fork, and I am getting the last few pieces for my Kenrith Monarch deck too, so I'm building those and, brewing decks here and there on the side. So yeah, I mean, I haven't had an opportunity really to play. Wrapping up a lot of things at work. It's been pretty busy, but hopefully over the next couple of weeks, I'll be able to jam some new games and play some new decks, and have a good time.
Yeah, no, I'm excited. I've got 2 weeks off coming up after this week, and it's been a minute since maybe it hasn't been a minute, but I am now at 342 games of my 365.
23 to go.
23 to go. I'm gonna get it done. I feel like it's a chore now. And 3 of them are Pinata. But I'm so close. I'm not waiting till next year. However, I've realized that if we didn't have COVID, I would have been done months ago, I think.
Oh, yeah.
I was well over 180 before we went into lockdown. And so, yeah, I need to get that done. I do have one more thing that I wanted to say on the show. You may have already seen me tweet about it, but I wanted to thank Wizards of the Coast. I got my first holiday card this year, so I was really excited being part of the MTG Creator Program. I got the Top Deck the Halls holiday card for 2020. So really exciting. If you're not aware, there's a holiday card that Wizards puts out every year. This one is an enchantment that says decorated cards in your hand have Miracle Snow. Decorated cards include premiums, promos, and cards with alternate frames or art. And the enchantment says at the beginning of your upkeep, if you control 12 or more decorated permanents, you win the game. So it's a really cool card. I'm really excited to be, given this. And it came with a really neat Christmas card from Wizards of the Coast. So I wanted to thank them and for everybody that has helped me in the creator program journey, as well as supporting us here, at the Guardian Project. And if you want to support us, you can head to patreon.com/guardianprojectpod. Donate for any dollar amount. We are looking at getting some new swag. So head over there and check us out.
Yeah, and if you're looking for another way to support the podcast, whatever you are listening to the podcast on now, or if you're watching, if you're on YouTube, if you could follow, subscribe, hit that bell icon, leave a comment. We're always looking for feedback to make the podcast better for you. And then we also have a TCG Player affiliate link. So if you are looking to pick up any single or sealed product for you, or maybe a friend or family member that you're trying to buy a gift for this Christmas season, please use our TCG Player affiliate link. We get a little bit of a kickback there, and it helps support the podcast and helps us do some fun things, some giveaways and things that we end up doing monthly.
Yeah, it's really great. Coyle, what are we talking about this week?
This week, we are going to talk about some of the Kaldheim announcements that were made very recently. And then we are also going to talk about kind of our 1 month since Commander Legends was released. What do we think? What did we do? What do we plan on doing? It's been a month. It feels like it's been multiple months, honestly, because it's still churning. There's still so much more we can do with this set. But yeah, we're gonna review 1 month after this Commander Legends set.
Yeah. All right. Let's get to it. So we got a couple of announcements this week. Actually, some of the announcements came out today, which is really our first peek into Kaldheim. So there were a couple of articles on Daily MTG today welcoming us to the face-melting world of Kaldheim, Vikings, gods, myths, legends, and so many beards.
Oh, yeah. Kaldheim is coming to hash * $ and ing melt your mind hole. I really wanted to say all of those symbols out like so bad.
$. You said ampersand? You did say the ampersand-ing?
I said and sign, but
No. Ampersand-ing melt your mind hole. That's what we should call the episode.
It's not bad. It's pretty good.
So the article says that Kaldheim is nearly here, and when it comes to some of the baddest, most unapologetically awesome characters, cards, and styles Magic has ever seen, that is what we are going to be getting. So a couple of quick notes, right? So we're getting 2 new Planeswalkers. We'll get to them in just a second, but we are going to see the return of Kaya and Tybalt.
Nice.
I'm very excited.
Yeah, I hope it's a Tybalt that is just as good as the original Tybalt, the best Tybalt.
On it, you know what? To be fair, the War of the Spark Tybalt's really good.
Yeah, no, you're right.
I would like to see something. I wouldn't mind if it was a little stronger than that. I don't know. what they're going to do with Tibble or what his storyline is going to be. But it says that they are going to be more formidable than ever.
Interesting. I mean, we assume he's a bad guy, right? I mean, he's a devil. He doesn't have to be a bad guy as a devil, but probably.
I assume the bad guy is Tibble. I mean, Kaya's not. I guess Kaya's not. Kaya's a hired assassin,
right?
So
Kaya's
I wouldn't say that Kaya's a bad person.
No, but I wouldn't say Kaya's a particularly good person either.
I agree with you. I would not. But it looks like she does have like magical axes this time around.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah, some glowish purpley axes. So I am excited to see what Kaya is bringing to the table. They gave us some poster artwork. It looks like we've got some potentially a god here on the artwork. It looks like there's some Valkyrie on this poster. So we'll see what this is all about. But the set does seem to be very much like the secret layer, the metal secret layer. Mm-hmm. That it's all, we're getting shredded on Kaldheim here.
Heck yeah, we are.
Yeah. So coming along with that, we've got 2 new planeswalkers, Tyvar, Kell, and Nico Eris.
Yeah.
So Tyvar is an elf tribal planeswalker, is what this article says. We knew from early in Kaldheim's development that the set would need an elf tribal planeswalker. So this would be, I guess, our second planeswalker that is elf tribal, right? Because Freyalise isn't. At least, Freyalise is an elf tribal commander. Yeah,
and assuming that Tyvar is not just in one of the commander precons that's released alongside Kaldheim, this one is going to be the first elf-centric planeswalker that's in a standard set. So that's kind of what sets it apart.
Yeah, absolutely. And then it says that that they were part of, like, I guess, Tyvar's part of the way that, or I guess, how do I say this? The elves that his lineage is from, they're all about like celebrating over the top fighting and like featuring like their amazing feats and their kind were defeated by the Scoti, who I guess is the current pantheon of gods that we will meet in the story and the set. So it sounds like, I mean, if you read it, it sounds like gods are coming back.
Yeah, that's so maybe it's going to be the gods of this plane. Maybe it's not actually going to be creature type god, but I hope it's creature type god.
I would hope it's a creature type. I like the creature type god. And I mean, I know that a lot of those come with devotion, but maybe they'll do something else. Maybe
now, the Amonkhet gods were god creature types, I believe. And they didn't have devotion matters.
Oh, you're right. They didn't have devotion. They had other requirements. Attack and block requirements.
Well, yeah. So it was attack and block requirements for the Amonkhet block gods, and then there was the Hour of Devastation gods that did not
keep coming back.
Right, but they didn't have any requirement. They had activated abilities, all of them. So
all right. So what are these gods gonna do?
What if they're just gonna do nothing? It'd be the worst gods ever.
Kidding. No, they're gonna be good gods.
They're gonna be great. Any new god is good god.
Yes. Any god is good. And then we've got Nico Eris, which is a new planeswalker that, based on what I'm reading, they use the they/them pronouns, so that's very exciting. And this planeswalker, Nico, is from Theros.
Oh,
okay. Early in Nico's life, an oracle foresaw a great future. They were destined to be a great athlete and an undefeated javelineer who would never miss a shot. Nico trained and competed for many years, but in all that time, they heard stories and songs of heroes who would fight to protect people and began to question their destiny, got out from under the grasp of Clothis, and planeswalked away, escaping destiny. Yeah. So that's exciting. And it sounds like Nico uses magic to turn, make mirror weapons.
Mirror weapons.
Yeah, so
Interesting.
Nico can conjure shards of mirror-like magical energy, which can shape into throwable weapons of various sizes. These can, of course, serve as a simple piercing spear or dagger, but they also have another property. Each shard can be imbued with the power to absorb the first living being it touches other than Nico, containing them in an extra-dimensional space for a limited time.
Oh, wow.
I'm going to throw this mirror at you, and you're just going to hang out in here for a bit.
I don't like that. I don't like that, Nico.
Yeah, they can trap an enemy in a crucial point in battle, hold some for questioning, or even whisk an ally out of danger.
Okay. So I guess I could see that. Maybe it's gonna.
Have you ever thought about what power you would want if you were like an X-Men or like?
I mean,
it sounds like the answer is yes. You have.
Absolutely, I have. It's completely over the top, powerful. It's called molecular manipulation, and
is
allows
this real,
you to. Well,
or
I mean,
you...
it's you could say that it's like it's like alchemy, but with telekinesis combined with it, where you can literally just manipulate the makeup of any material anywhere, ever, at any given time.
Oh, I was more thinking if you had to pick an X-Men to be, who would you be?
Oh,
but that's neat too.
Well, I would probably pick Phoenix then, just because Phoenix is the most powerful X-Men ever.
Yeah, I think I'd still pick Nightcrawler though.
Ooh, teleportation.
Because I just want to like I don't have to drive anymore. Like I'm just like gonna go somewhere.
And you have a cool little tail. But look at my cool little tail.
Look at my cool little tail.
And blue skin. Be kind of cool.
I mean, I didn't say I was Nightcrawler. I would just want Nightcrawler's power.
It's a package deal. Sorry.
Package deal. All right. Well then, fair enough. So I'm excited to see what we are going to be getting on Kaldheim. I'm ready for gods. I'm ready for Nico to create. Maybe Nico is going to create artifacts that are mirrors that act like a exile this until this mirror leaves the battlefield.
Yeah, like an exile enchantment, but as an artifact mirror. That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, because you can contain them, and then maybe even to make it even more difficult, the mirror has like counters that they can only stay out for so long. It's like this mirror has like, I don't know, vanishing 2 or something. I think
it'd be cool if the mirrors had like their own form of like loyalty counters on them, where you could destroy the mirror by attacking it.
Yeah, it has its own hit points, and like once you hit it enough, the mirror breaks and the creature comes back out.
Yeah, I think it'd be cool.
All right, I'm here for my mirror token. Okay, so mirror token, mirror deck.
Mirror
on the wall. So I'm excited for Kaldheim, but we're not done with Commander Legends yet.
No.
It's been about a month since Commander Legends has been out, and we've seen a lot. We've done a lot. We've learned a lot.
We've learned so much. We've come so far.
And I would say it didn't even matter, but it does. It matters a lot.
Yeah, quite a bit.
So we're going to talk about decks that we've built, what we've learned, what we've played against specifically, any cards that we think might be, sleepers. We don't tend to be the, you should absolutely play this card people. Like, I mean, we mention it, like, I love this card. I think everyone should play this card, but we're not experts. But there are a couple of cards that we think might be underused or just haven't been seen yet, because to be fair, I've put cards in decks since Zendikar Rising that I still have not even drawn one time in playing the game. Yeah, so it could also be that I just haven't physically seen someone play it. And then also we're going to end it with what decks that now that we've seen it and we know kind of how the format is shaping up, which doesn't appear to be broken, what we would like to build with what we know. So starting out with what we have built, Coyle.
Yes.
Tell us about what has changed about one of your Dimir color-aligned commander decks.
Literally 2 cards. 2 cards have changed in my blue-black zombies deck. So
yes.
I owned this blue black Scarab God zombies deck, and it was always like just a sweet deck that you could pull out and play in various level pods. Like it has one infinite combo. It's really difficult to like tutor for it and actually have everything in place that lets you win. But because of that, it's kind of considered a higher power. To be fair, Zombie Tribal, swing to win, it's always going to at least speed up games. So I always really liked playing the deck. However, the Scarab God is scary. And when people see the Scarab God, they tend to remove it. They don't let you have it. They don't let you get your upkeep trigger with it, which allows you to scry and do damage equal to the number of zombies you control. And the Scarab God itself is not a zombie. So it kind of takes away a little bit from the Zombie Tribal. So what I did is I instead replaced the commander of the Scarab God with Tormod the Desecrator. So we have a mono black zombie. It's a 4/2 for 4 mana. It says whenever a card leaves your graveyard, or one or more cards leaves your graveyard, make a tapped 2/2 black zombie creature token. And then partnered up with that to keep blue. I figured, hey, why not? Sakashima of 1,000 faces, you know? Turns out having one zombie lord, the best thing you could do is to just copy and get another zombie lord. So I was able to take out Training Grounds and Rings of Brighthearth out of the 99 because those synergize with the Scarab God and don't actually synergize well with Sakashima or with Tormod. So I was able to very easily just slip those out, take the Scarab God, put it in the 99, and oh man, that deck got way, way, way better.
Yeah, it did.
So just as I said, Zombie Lord and then a clone to make the Zombie Lord, or, you know, cloning Grey Merchant of Asphodel if that's really what you want to do.
That did happen on stream.
I only had 4 Grey Merchants or something like that. No big deal. No big deal.
NBD. So the Tormod Sakashima deck is really cool. I still really like Giza and Geralf. But you got so many good choices for blue-black zombies, like as the commander that you could take. But the Tormod Sakashima is the new hotness, and I am really enjoying the way that deck played out.
Maybe Nevinyrral is a better option in Esper to add white.
Oh, because then you get the Amonkhet zombies.
Yeah, you get the few of those. You get extra token doublers and stuff in white as well. So maybe that's another option for zombies. I haven't seen a Nevinyrral deck yet, but I mean, you get a board wipe in your commander as well, which is pretty cool.
From what I've read online, folks that have built it have said, I am sorry. Remember the episode we did that said, and for that I am sorry?
Yes.
That's what I'm hearing is coming from Nevinyrral Urborg Tyrant, because all you're doing is slowing the game down to like a screeching halt constantly. Which, I mean, for some, if that's what you want to play against, great. But I know that I would not want to play with or against that. But I guess you could play Esper Planeswalkers, and because it doesn't destroy the Planeswalkers.
Yeah, I mean it's 3-color Child of Alara, I guess, in a way. Maybe that's how they look at it.
I guess, sure. But
yeah, it's okay.
Having Niv's disc there is pretty cool, not gonna lie. So I built, the only deck that I've actually completely constructed so far from Commander Legends is the CEDH Malcolm and Vile Smash deck. So I know we already briefly talked about those, so I won't go into it. However, I started building a Boros Commander deck. And I did mention at the beginning of the show that I wasn't really a fan of my Boros decks. And so I wanted a deck for this from like a specific commander related to the guild, not just like a red-white deck. I wanted like a creature that exists like on or is from Ravnica. Right. And so I said, all right, I'm going to build Belborka Spectral Sergeant. And it's funny because I almost had this deck built before our stream last Thursday. I started building it. And so Belborka says, note the CMC of every card as it's put into exile. This is all cards. Belborka Spectral Sergeant's power is equal to the greatest number noted for it this turn. So if you're exiling a bunch of cards like with a Tolly or whatever, you just note the highest one. And then at the beginning of your upkeep, you exile the top card of your library. You can play that card this turn, and it's a *5. So its power could be huge. Its power could be not so huge, but it has to like kind of swing to win. And I guess they're trying to give a little bit of that card advantage to Boros because you can exile the card and play it. So if it's a land, you can still play it. So, I was like, all right, I'll try it. And as I was like, I think I finished the build, right? And then I text you and said, all right, I've got it. I think I'm going to build Velborka. I just realized I finished building it and then I was bored. I was like, I'm not going to like this deck. Like it seemed super neat, really cool as I was building it. And then I said, I'm not putting this together because I know I'm going to play it twice and say, I'm done. This feels Voltron. And
you're swinging with your commander, right?
You're swinging with your commander, and I have learned that I just don't particularly care for that play style because my Dimir deck, Lazav, is Voltron.
Sure.
And you pick on one person, and they get upset. And I personally don't like to play when I'm upsetting one person because you have to target them to get to 21. Because if you don't get to 21, you're pretty much not going to win the game. You need to at least take one person out. So I decided to stop building Velborka. And it's funny because I had tweeted out, and I didn't even think about what I had tweeted, but a lot of people said that I got so many likes for it. But I put, if the commander isn't for you, or the commander isn't for you if the deck is boring to brew. And I didn't realize it rhymed until I actually tweeted it. And the Commander Crunch podcast says, they responded and said, I think I need to put this in an inspirational quote template, script font, and all, just like the Live, Laugh, Love brew decks.
Oh, yeah. That's great.
Oh, so funny. But I was building it. And then I have a deck list. There's, some really neat stuff with like the suspend cards is really cool because the CMC is giant, but then you can play it for its suspend cost from exile, and then Velborka is huge. And I thought, well, I've got some swords I can throw in here that I've never used because I used to have a Nazan deck, the Selesnya cat, and so I've owned them for so long, and then I decided, no, I'm just not doing it. So I think what I've learned is I just don't like playing Voltron. So I have not built another deck yet, but I've got some things in mind that I'll talk about later.
Yeah. Yeah, I know another card that we potentially are going to talk about later that might be good in that. If you like Voltron and building the Soulfire Eruption, no one's using that card. It's a very, very, very underutilized card right now. But
yeah, I like those cards.
But I'm getting off track, getting ahead of myself. So I actually have been brewing the crap out of Commander Legends creatures.
I know Coyle has done way more than I have. I've done a lot of editing of old decks.
Yes, and that's actually something that I have not done. I have not added. Like, I know I was playing my Aluna deck the other day and someone said, what new things have you added to Aluna from Commander Legends? And I'm like, the things I should have added? Yeah, no, I haven't added anything to Aluna. So I might turn Aluna into landfalls, but that's later, and add the Simic dude from the pre-con that I can't remember his name of.
The Serpent?
Yes, but we'll see. Anyway, so some of the stuff that I've actually finished in paper, or I did reference, Andy, you referenced your CEDH Malcolm and Vial Smasher. I had made Rogue Rock and Jessica CEDH. A lot of it is proxy, but I'm finishing up in paper. I'd like to keep it in paper built. So that's fun. I'd like to keep it around and jam a few more games. The games that we played on stream are the only games that I've played with that deck. So definitely would love to play some more of that. But one deck that I'm pretty proud of, and it's not because the commander is from Commander Legends, but half of the cards in the deck approximately are from Commander Legends, and that is my Kenrith, the Returned King, Monarch Matters deck. So 5-color Monarch. So I have every single card that has Monarch in the name or Monarch in the text box. Monarch Matters cards is in the deck list. I still have a few cards coming in the mail. Obviously, the mailing system right now is a little bit slow with Christmas time coming around, and some of the rares from Conspiracy Take the Crown, our local game stores did not have. So I'm picking up those last few pieces, but it's super, super fun. I've only played the one game with it. It performed well. I mean, Kenrith itself is a very scary commander, very, very good commander. And I did put some of the good, reduced ability costs creatures in there, like Zerda, Biomancer Familiar, Training Grounds, those types of things, just to help me with card draw. Most of the Monarch cards that you see are higher CMC, so I felt like I needed those. But I ended up kind of going a little bit cheaper in the land base. And I say a little bit cheaper. It still might be expensive for some people's taste, but I use all of the Battle Bond lands, Battle Bond / Commander Legends lands.
Yeah.
So that was nice. I have the 10 talismans there for my mana ramp. No cultivates or anything like that. So, but it's been a lot of fun. Kenrith's ability to reanimate creatures is really, really important to be able to get the Monarch at instant speed, which I thought was really, really cool. And these oh my gosh, the court cards, I think, if you build a Monarch Matters deck, the court cards are so good. The Court of Ambition, when we played the other day on stream, making everyone either discard a card or take 3, and that's without being the Monarch. And I was taking the Monarch at instant speed too, so it was 6 damage, or discarding 2. Plus, Davey had, spoiler, copied it with a clever impersonator, so there was more than one. And I know I saw Davey jam a Court of Bounty, and you have a Court of Bounty in some of your decks too. These courts are actually looking real nice. For our format.
Yeah, I like them a lot. And when we get a little further down, obviously to the decks we're looking to build, I do have Monarch to talk about as well. But I think the courts are great. I've played against the Black Court, the Court of Ambition. I have played against the Court of Ire, the Red Court, and that one is terrifying if the person is the Monarch. I mean, 7 mana takes out your creature. I mean, I don't know what creatures most people run, but taking one out by dealing 7 damage to it is very scary. And Red really wants to keep the Monarch.
Oh yeah,
or
at least take it back every single turn.
At least take it back. I added Court of Grace to my Teysa Orzhov Scion deck because I already like making spirits.
Yeah.
So I added the Court because then I can get a little bit more card draw. And then Court of Cunning is the one that I have not actually seen used yet. Now I remember I was going to build a Bruvac deck. I really wanted to build that a while ago, and then it just didn't happen because everything else was coming out, and I wanted to build a deck for CEDH, and I wanted to upgrade other decks, and it just wasn't there. But I feel like the Court of Cunning is pretty great. I mean, if you're the Monarch at your upkeep, each of your opponents mills 10 cards.
It's actually so I understand.
It's any number of target players.
Yeah, any number of players. So
you can mill yourself if you want.
Yeah, so particularly in my Kenrith deck with his reanimation ability, it's super awesome to have that symmetrical effect. That's the word I was looking for.
Would you run this in zombies? Do you have this in your Tormod Sakashima deck?
I don't, only because...
It's only 3, though. I guess it is nice and cheap. It
is. My mana curve for my zombies deck is around 3, and I would have to sacrifice some zombie or it's like, do I replace Factor Fiction with Court of Cunning, or do I keep Factor Fiction? That's kind of the slot that it would fit for me.
Right. No, I hear you. So, moving on to what we have learned. Coyle, why don't you start with the first note here? We actually, we shared our notes, and this first one here is also on my list. I have thoughts.
Yes. There's a 3 mana blue creature with flash that they printed in Commander Legends. That there's not, the controversy was all about opposition agent in black, but Hall Breacher, the Merfolk Pirate 3/2, says if an opponent would draw a card except the first one they draw on each of their draw steps, instead you create a treasure token. This card we did get to see on a couple occasions, and it's real. I mean, it's 1 mana.
It's good.
It's 1 mana less than Thief of Sanity. No.
Thief of Notions.
Thief of Notions. It's
Notion thief.
Notion thief. Oh my gosh.
Thief of Sanity, Thief of Notions, Notion Thief. What's that game that you play where you got to connect all those words to get to the end? We tried to play it, didn't do really well.
But it's 1 mana less. It is 1 less color as well. Instead of blue-black, it's just blue. And you don't get to draw cards instead of your opponent's drawing cards, but you get mana. And obviously, your opponent's not having cards in their hand and you having a significant advantage over them is the point of playing a creature like this. And you're probably going to play both, honestly. If you are playing this card, it's not a nice card. It's definitely a very mean card. If you are playing it in response to someone casting a wheel or something like that, there's probably fair ways you can play this, but as Andy always states, the best thing you can do in Magic is drawing cards, and Hull Breacher is saying, no more than just the one.
Yeah, it's the reason. So I honestly, I don't know if this deck, or if this card, not this deck, this card is fair in any instance. This is that card where just the social contract is breached when you play. I would play against an opposition 10 times before I ever want to see a Hull Breacher. Mm-hmm. You know what? Fine. Take my single tutor. It's fine. But I would like to draw 4 cards to find an answer to the thing as opposed to tutoring for the thing. And I don't run Notion. I have one deck that runs all three of them. It's my Lazav deck. But I tell people that when I'm going to play, I run Notion Thief in this deck. I run Narset Parter of Veils in this deck. Mm-hmm. This deck is a jerk deck. It does those things. And I don't think after playing against it and seeing it off of stream as well, off of that stream, I don't know if I could bring myself to put this in a deck, even if I'm not trying to abuse it. I don't want to upset somebody knowing how much I would be a little upset. Yeah. You can't even brainstorm.
No, it's actually...
You can't do like anything.
Brainstorm's really, really hosed by this. You have to put 2 cards from your hand on top of your library and your opponent gets 3 mana. That's real good.
It's really good. So Hull Breacher, I think where I am is I don't think I'm going to play it. I just don't think I'm going to play it. I'm going to have my 1 copy, but I don't think I can put this into a deck, even though fantastic card. This is a card I would tell people I'm running.
Yeah, no, definitely. Yeah, it's one of those cards. Like if you're running Mass Land Destruction or Hull Breacher, you got to tell them in
the pregame. Rule 0 discussion.
That's right.
What's your deck looking to do? Well, it's looking to be a crappy deck, but I'm running Hull Breacher. All right, I got to take you out. That's what I got to do.
That's right.
So we also learned that the new partners don't seem particularly broken.
Nope.
I love them. I love these new partners. I want to build all partner decks. That's what I want.
Yeah.
I just want partners. I like having 2 things in the command zone. Although it's a nightmare to type out when tracking for my 365, and it takes up a lot more characters for our stream titles on YouTube. I love 2 commanders in the command zone.
Yes. Yeah, it's been a lot of fun to see them, and yeah, it adds a lot of variability. Obviously the 2 color ones we've seen for a long time, but the new single color ones, the only ones that maybe like I haven't seen, I've seen an Achroma once, but I think I'm thinking of a Game Nights episode.
Achroma Rogue Rock, I think, was on Game Nights.
Right. So I've seen Achroma just the once. It just seems like such a high CMC for a partner. Achroma and Kamal, Heart of Krosa, being 8 CMC, Achroma 7. I'd like to see more of them, but obviously you have to build for that high CMC.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah, and another card that people had a lot of controversy that they talked about. I don't know if you've heard of it. It's an artifact, costs 0 mana. It's called Jeweled Lotus.
I own 1. I did open 1. It's in a deck.
Yeah,
haven't seen it.
It's pretty good.
Yeah,
free mana only for your commander once, unless you can recur it. It didn't break the format. It was very overhyped, maybe not overhyped. It was over exaggerated on how powerful this card would be. But it helps. I mean, if you have a 4 CMC commander, you can get it on turn 1 with just a land. That's pretty cool. But I really hope that you kept a hand for more than just 1 land and a Jeweled Lotus.
Yeah. No, fair enough. Another thing that we've learned The foils from this set are pretty Pringly.
Wizards of the Coast, sponsored by Pringles.
Once you pop, you don't stop. Is that what's Pringles?
Yeah, it's once you pop, you can't stop.
You can't stop.
Something
I just
like
remember the commercial from when we were growing up, and it was like walk like an Egyptian, but instead of eating Lay's chips, they were eating Pringles. Do you remember that commercial?
Yeah, absolutely.
Who doesn't, I guess.
I just wish they had real commercials where they did duck lips with the chips like everyone did in real life.
Yeah. You know what? I eat Pringles with the what's the word? The powdered side down. So I put it in upside down. People say it's upside down, but I want the powder flavor to go onto my taste buds and not onto the roof of my mouth.
Yeah, apply directly to the tongue.
Am I the only one who eats those upside down?
I think you might be the only one eating them correctly. But no, when you do duck lips, you eat them upside down.
I can't be the only person who eats them upside down.
When you do duck lips, you eat them upside down that way.
When you do... Yes, you do, but do you shove both of those into your mouth when you do duck lips?
Listen, I have no shame. Yes, I do.
So the foils were a little bit curled. All right, they're not a little bit, they're a lot of bit curled. The etched foils, which are gorgeous, not curled. The regular ones, pretty curled.
I would say less curled, honestly, but curled in the opposite direction for the etched foils, I've noticed.
Are they? I've noticed mine are pretty good. The other ones they're really warped. However, I'm still putting them into a deck. If you're playing with curled cards, Commander's not a there's CEDH. It's not like you're going and you're playing with, comp REL rules or anything. Right. You're not. So if you're playing with a curled card and it's the next card you're going to draw unintentionally, whatever. I like foils, so I'm still playing with them. The longer they sit in the sleeves and they're packed and jammed in with the other 99, the flatter they're going to get. It's going to take a lot of time, the way that some of them look.
For sure. And then, like we mentioned before, the courts are seeing play in people's decks just because as like a casual part of the 99, great way to introduce Monarch into any particular group of 4. You're not always going to see it, but when it comes out, it's like, oh, cool. Now the Boros player has a card draw outlet. They just have to attack, which, Boros does, into the person who played the Monarch. Or maybe they're playing the Monarch courts themselves. So,
right.
Yeah. Courts were great.
So what have we played against? Okay, so one card I want to mention, because I mentioned this, that I was going to do this, and it is yet to fail. Wheel of Misfortune.
Oh, yeah.
I have not played it myself. You played it once on a stream, and I had someone play it last night. So Wheel of Misfortune. Each player secretly chooses a number, and then they all reveal them together. The person who chose the highest amount takes damage equal to the number they chose. And then everyone that didn't choose the lowest number, they wheel. So they discard their hand, and they draw 7. Okay, so the only person taking damage is the person who chose the highest number.
Right, so the first time you took 15, so how much did you take the second time, Andy?
I took 9. I took 9 the second time. I came down significantly and still was the highest.
Nice.
So
there was both times.
I've taken both. I've taken the damage both times. The lowest was a 4 the second time. And the first time we played, when we were playing with Stacked EDH, who chose 0 because he did not want to wheel his hand with the Krark Sakashima deck, chose 0. So it's really nice that you don't have to wheel. But I needed to make sure that I wheeled because I had nothing to do because you had a Blood Moon out. So I needed to get basics.
That is right.
So I needed to guarantee it, so I chose 15. That was unnecessary. I figured, okay, I'll go with 9 because maybe other people are crazy like I am. Still too high. So that is my experience with Wheel of Fortune.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know on our pod or on our stream the other day, someone had played the Sorcery Necrotic Hex, and that is the black sorcery that says each player sacrifices 6 creatures. So that was... it was effective. I had 8 creatures out at the time. I think everyone else got wiped, but it forced me to get down to 2 creatures. And if you're playing a Sacrifice Matters deck or something, that's going to be a pretty good card. It's kind of a higher CMC, but yeah, fun card, good card. maybe it's 7 CMC. Maybe you're going to play it in a CMC Matters or an odd CMC Matters kind of deck.
Right. I played against Thalys, Reverent Medium. That deck is very cool. Thalys makes white spirits with flying, where X is the number of tokens you created this turn. So that happens at the beginning of each end step. That's each, not just yours, the beginning of each end step. So I did see a bajillion spirits on the battlefield at one point. And I also played against a Silas Wren and Rebek deck. So an artifact, Esper artifact matters. And with Rebek, you're giving your artifacts protection from the CMC of each artifact you control. Is that how Rebek reads?
I believe so. Yep.
Yeah, so very, very cool deck. A little slower. I was playing the Angry Omnath deck, so I know that I may have gone a little faster. Yeah, it says artifacts you control have protection from each CMC among artifacts you control. So partnered with getting black and blue, I mean, you're in some pretty solid artifact territory there with Esper. And yeah, really, really cool stuff.
Yeah, for sure. And I know you and I were both in a pod where we saw Hamza, Guardian of the Arshan, kind of go pseudo-infinite with the, I can never remember his name, Sapperling Matters in black, green, white.
Is that Sapling of the Colfiner, or are you talking about the new one? Yeah.
Yeah, so that was, it was cool to see that that Loxodon is, that's all the +1/+1 counters making them cost less mana and all that kind of stuff. So that was cool to see. First time I saw that, only time I saw that. I haven't seen it afterwards either.
Yeah, and then I've only seen Gen Arcanum Weaver once. Lane played that on our podcast. You can find him on Twitter at Lane the Main. So this is the Mardu Enchantment Matters deck. So sacrifice an enchantment, return an enchantment from your graveyard to the battlefield by paying Mardu and tapping Gen. So that was really cool. I did remove Gen a few times because there were some scary things in the graveyard. But if you didn't have a way to deal with Gen, that deck can go crazy. For sure. So we've seen some really cool stuff out in the wild. Obviously, we're only about a month out, so I'm looking forward to seeing a lot more. I feel like this was an overload of legendary creatures, and people might have already been working on building some of the older ones. So I assume we're going to see a lot more of these Commander Legends creatures, like maybe 6 months from now, so that people are trying to not build the most popular one today, might build it in a couple of months.
For sure.
So sleeper cards. What are we thinking here that we have seen that might not be getting the recognition it deserves?
So I can honestly say that I have not seen one successful cast or even successful put on the stack of any of the 9 CMC mythic sorceries from Commander Legends. So that's Triumphant Reckoning in white, Mnemonic Deluge in blue, Profane Transfusion in black, Soulfire Eruption in red, or Reshape the Earth in green. And I know we were pretty excited about, in particular, Reshape the Earth and Triumphant Reckoning, and maybe it's the CMC. I'm guessing it's the CMC. I
saw Reshape the Earth. I played against one 2 nights ago. It came in, but it was they came into the battlefield tapped. They did have an Amulet of Vigor out, but then did not have much to do after that, and it did not win. But I just added Profane Transfusion to my Veto Thorn of the Duskgrowth deck, because when you exchange life totals, one player does in fact gain the life if they are the one who's lower. So I'm hoping that might do something, and with Veto gaining as much life as it does, I should have time to get to 9 mana. And that is the only deck that I have that runs Urborg and Cabal Coffers. Okay. So getting to 9 mana, I think, is reasonable.
Yeah, very much so. And in green, it seems like it should be reasonable. So I guess the issues with this white, blue, and red versions of these 9 CMC sorceries is ramp. It needs ramp to get there, and you need to see the card. I mean, it's 1 in 99, right? So
right, 1 in 99. Another card that I really like is Jeska's Will. 3 mana for a sorcery, choose one. If you control a commander, you can choose both. So add red for each card in target opponent's hand, add that much red mana to your mana pool, and then exile the top 3 cards of your library. You can play them this turn. This is the reason that I won one of our CEDH games. I really like this card, and having your commander out is not unreasonable to wait to cast this. To maybe if someone's holding 6 cards, you get 6 red mana and exile the top 3. I mean, this card is great in a mono red deck. I would 100% put this in all of my mono red commander decks.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Especially if it ends up being partners or something, and you have a rogue rock. That way, it's just really easy to control your commander and get both modes. It's awesome.
Yeah.
I have not seen Amarith the Lustrous yet as a commander in the 99 or anything like that, and I think it's a shame. I don't know if this is the worst commander out there or something, but if I'm not mistaken, Amarith the Lustrous could pseudo go infinite with a Sensei's Divining Top, and I think maybe this is a nice transition into our next segment. I think I might build that one day.
And so you want to build Amaranth the Lustrous? Yeah, that's a pretty cool. So whenever another permanent enters the battlefield under your control, look at the top card of your library. If it shares a card type with that permanent, you can reveal it and put it into your hand.
So with cast Sensei's Divining Top, it enters the battlefield. Amaranth trigger on the stack. I tap Sensei's Divining Top to put it as the top card of my library. I don't know if the card has to exist on the battlefield to compare it to or not. I have to actually look up the rulings. It doesn't exist on Scryfall yet, so I'll have to ask a judge.
Nice. Well, I would like to build Obeka, Brute Chronologist. I know I mentioned that, but right now, like I said, I try not to build the most hyped commander. I feel like the ending the turn is the hotness right now. If I am correct, or at least it was as of a couple of weeks ago, just maybe a week ago, Obeka was the most popular commander to build. So I tend to stray away from that for just, I don't know, just so that I don't see it. But there isn't one in our play group, so I probably should just put it together, but I might throw this one together in the future.
Yeah, EDH Rec does have Obeka as the most popular, second most popular being Arami of the Dead Tide, which was my choice for commander that I was going to make. So I personally am also deviating from my Arami pick, and I'm going to build Nimrus, Una's Trickster. So just blue-black control card draw. I'm not going to play it in a pod where I'm going to, I'm there to have fun. I'm going to play it in more of I should say that, but more of a competitive pod where I'm going to go have some fun, where people don't really mind getting their spells countered and everything like that. So
right. And then the other deck, I know I mentioned it earlier, I'm not the biggest fan of playing Voltron decks. So, and Boros in general, though, but this Arden Intrepid Archaeologist is a partner. At the beginning of combat on your turn, you may attach any number of auras and equipment you control to target permanent or player. It's kind of cool because you can put an aura on something, move it over before combat each turn, so you can shift around your auras, mixing that with, I don't know, a commander that one of the 2-color partners. I didn't own the 2-color partners previously. I started commander just after those ones had come out. So, and they were like just out of that price range that I was willing to buy. I guess at least some of them were before the reprints. And so now that I own them, I feel like I want to brew with the 2 colors, and adding one of these new partners to it is what I think I really want to be doing.
Yeah, that sounds like fun. And then I have the deck list completely put together. I just have to put it together in paper of my mono black partners list that I alluded to for, I don't know, a year and a half now, something like that.
Feel like it.
Miara, Thorn of the Glade, with Nadir, Agent of the Dust Knell for mono black elves. Kind of a reanimator style deck, but specifically for mono black elves. So I'll be able to put that together in paper and have that in a second. But just to add on to your 2-color commander thing, I actually do have a brew going on Architect right now, which I hope to put in paper eventually. And that is my Timna the Weaver and Kaidel wheels deck with Karuga CMC 3 or higher companion. So
ooh.
Hopefully that sees the light of day sooner rather than later.
Yeah. No. There's so many decks that I just want to build, but I think now that I'm done with school, we are, I think, we've gotten a grasp on our content. We've got time now. I can think about brewing a bunch of decks with my vacation. I don't know the spiral of decks that I'm going to build because I feel like I'm going to build like 10 in the time that I have off. And I'll have to send out pictures of my room with boxes and cards all over the place. So I'm looking forward to that. So expect maybe I'll do Arden Rogue Rock just so I have a Boros deck to build. And then maybe I'll switch it to red, I don't know, red something. Down the road. But I think Arden should be in my repertoire of commanders. Okay. Put it in the library.
Put it on the board.
Put it on the board. So anyway, thank you everybody for joining us. This week we're going to be streaming with Jen and Donnie from MTG Filthy Casual on Twitter at 8 p.m. Eastern this Thursday. At twitch.tv/atflory. If you want to contact us, you can find our podcast online at theguardianprojectpodcast.com. And you can find our social media on Twitter at GuardianPod and our gameplay videos at youtube.com/theguardianproject. If you want to email us, you have any questions, topics, suggestions for the show, guardianprojectpod@gmail.com is where you can email us. You can find me on Twitter personally at atflory.
And you can find me on Twitter at WormCoilEngine. And we just want to give a special thanks to Ryan Nichols, our producer. Thank you so much. And our editor. And also to Chris Wolf, who creates all of our thumbnails and overlays for our videos and streams.
We will see you all next week with episode 80. Wow, we're at 80. We're almost to 100. Can you believe that? We're getting there.
Yeah, you know what this week's episode is? 10 plus? Nice. Sorry, old joke. Had to repeat it.
Bye, everyone.